when I said Pentium 4 PCs are dying, I was wrong. Well, I was half wrong. The reason I said was that I was saying that these clips break, so the heat sinks will fall off, and then it's difficult to find heat sinks or buy heat sinks and these clip things. And you can actually get these from AliExpress on their own. They're really cheap and they come with the bracket and screws, and it looks good. I'm going to fit this to one of these Pentium 4 PCs. However, this is from another Pentium 4 PC, and this has completely different mounting mechanism, and I couldn't find the brackets for this. So it's not always the same bracket. So if I put this bracket into the PC that had this heatsink won't attach properly to this. So for this system, it's the blue and beige system, I will need a replacement heatsink as well. So I was wrong about them dying. They're not dying if you can find the parts you need to keep them running, and that's what we're going to do today in this video. We're going to clean the Pentium 4 system, get it back to how it was, get it to as good a condition as we can. I've also bought this fan for the power supply so that we can see if that power supply is any good, because a faulty fan is kind of a not a good reason to throw away a power supply. If the power supply isn't very good or has other problems, then you don't really want to rely on it to run your system. But I think this is worth a try to replace the fan in this system and make sure it's okay. So to start with, I'm going to check the voltages from this power supply just to make sure it kind of does what it's meant to do. And this is going to be a bit loud because the fan in it is too loud, but then after that this video should calm down and be a relatively relaxing video to watch. So I'm going to connect up this power tester, and this is one of the ones with the displays that tells you what voltages you're getting. So this is like the sort of step up from this very basic one, and these are relatively cheap, and yeah, well worth buying if you have a lot of sort of PCs to check, or you're in this kind of wanting to check if things work properly. So next I'm going to move the cup of tea out of the way and connect up the power to this power supply and see what we get. There's the fan, the faulty fan. So I've got 12.1, 12 volts, 5 volts, 3.3 and 12, and then 5.1. So these are all sort of looking good enough, and just going to pull the power out because we don't need to hear that. But yeah, those are sort of looking good enough for this power supply to be worth fixing. And if you're not used to doing this stuff, it's best to avoid doing this because power supplies are not, necessarily safe to be taking apart if you're not very careful. I am generally very careful not to touch components in power supplies, and we'll see sort of how easy it is to replace the fan on this. If it's easy, great. If it's not so easy, I might reconsider the options. It's quite an empty power supply. I'm going to clean the dust out, just wipe it with a cloth. And there's not much to this power supply. That's quite nice to see. There's actually a Can you see this down here? I'm pointing at this but not touching it, but you can see that there is a connection for the fan, and it almost looks like I've got the same connector on the fan that I've bought to replace it, which is this. This was from AliExpress. I just ordered it all at the same time as the brackets. So yeah, just gonna have a quick look at the capacitors in here. Fuse, all kind of look okay from what I can see, apart from being a bit dusty. It does look like a fairly basic power supply. Does seem to have some safety stuff built into here. But yeah, we'll replace this fan, take it from there. Having a magnetic Phillips screwdriver or screwdriver is very helpful. Okay, so that's annoying. There is a cable tie around this, the fan connection. A little bit annoying. Okay, so I have connected this up here. I had to swap the black and red round so that it matched this one, which you can see here, black and red, and this fan is done for. You can go in e-waste. We're going to be putting this the same way round as the other fan was, so that it's blowing out air, and then put the screws back in. What do you think? Leave this in the video where I just basically screw some screws into this fan. It does make the video longer, but it is, I guess, part of the process. This fan probably adds to the structural integrity of the power supply. Okay, so try and tuck this away slightly out of the way so it doesn't get caught when we're putting this back on, that kind of thing. Have I put that on the wrong way around? Yes, I have. Okay, another 4 screws. I don't know if you've done a lot of this before, and if you have, then you know, or probably know, that one easy way to sort of thread a screw is to go backwards before you go forwards. So that helps it sort of, see here it's at an angle, I go backwards, and then it's not as or it puts it in the right angle, basically helps thread it. And then once it's in the right place, you can go forwards. I'm sure many people know this already, but if you don't, then that's always a useful thing to remember. So we've put the power in, we're going to connect it to this, and you'll be able to hear the difference with the new fan. So it's not the quietest power supply in the world, but it's fairly quiet. It's definitely quieter than it was, and I suspect this fan will be louder. But there we go, we've made this power supply usable again, so that was quite cheap and easy. And next we'll clean up this heatsink. As it is very dusty and dirty. So I'm going to clean the thermal paste off first, and then we can reapply it later. Not the same thermal paste, of course, some fresh stuff. And I've got some electrical cleaner, and I've got some alcohol gel, and this will just help clean it a bit better. And then we'll clean this fan. And after this we can move on to the PC with, we'll need to remove the motherboard so that we can attach the mounting bracket properly. And then we've got the graphics card to clean, and we can give that some fresh thermal paste as well. And I've also got a brush, really useful to sort of brush away dust in tight areas. So for example, all around this fan, this has been storing a lot of dust. Yep, we can remove that. as you can see, this is a serious buildup of dust and is going to be seriously affecting the cooling performance of this heatsink. It's best not to think about what dust is, because if you think about it, it's really gross. So I'm just going to try and avoid thinking about this entirely. I'm going to see if I can remove this at all. It'd be quite handy to sort of clean under this, but I also don't want to break it. Got a air blower as well. Let's see if I can find that. It's right in front of me. Here we go. This is what you can get for photography stuff. It just like blows air. So I'll just use this to sort of clear some of this dust. 100% avoiding thinking about what dust is made of. So I think we've managed to do a good enough job of this without taking the this black shroud off. Probably is possible, but again, I don't want to risk breaking it. And next, this fan. This does quite a good job of dislodging dust, and then the rest can just be sort of brushed away with a brush. It's interesting that the PC's got like a pebble fan. That's pretty cool. And also this shielding or wrap around the wires. That's quite nice. You don't sort of see that on budget stuff. So they've gone for slightly better than complete budget stuff on this build, which is nice to see. Even though it's probably, you know, it was an Advent, and that's one of the Korea's PC World brands, as far as I'm aware. Let's give this a wipe as well. See if we can get it looking cleaner. Just doing each individual blade now on the fan. Okay, it's looking pretty pretty good. And then I've also got this and could do with wipe. Whoops. And now I can start putting this heatsink back together. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the PC. And I'll just make some space and then we can start taking the motherboard out. So I've given it a quick dust and I'm going to check the noise level of this fan before sort of proceeding really. So let's grab the power supply. So this power supply, this fan, it's quite loud. Not too loud, not much louder than the power supply fan, but I'm hoping that if I use the 3-pin connector for this fan, we'll be able to turn the noise down a little bit. I've also got this the fan on the heatsink that might be quite loud as well. Either way, it all needs cleaning, so let's just carry on. This has got 2 screws holding it in, makes things a little bit quicker to remove. And I think, it's not going to be a silent system, being a Pentium 4 system. So, because we've got the power supply fan, we've got this fan, we've got the CPU fan, and then we've also got a fan on the graphics card. So, trying to make this into a silent system with, rubber mountings for the fans and things isn't really going to result in much of a silent system. So, yeah. Anyway, before we do the motherboard, we'll do this fan and we'll do the graphics card as well. So we've got the fan, we've got the graphics card. I'll start with the fan, and we're just doing the same as we did before with the other fans and things. Okay, that fan's looking okay. Next, the graphics card. Just removing the dust. And this means we can now see these little clip things. And if we're lucky, we should be able to squeeze those and remove the heatsink. Yeah, that was quite straightforward. Just giving them a gentle squeeze. There we go. So, popped out one of these, and the next one, and there we have the graphics chip. And we need to clean this off. Old thermal paste, still gooey. And then we can detach it from the card. We can also clean the CPU, not the CPU, the GPU. Quite a lot of thermal paste. GeForce FX. And there we have the processor. It's got 5500 here. Samsung memory chips along here. Various capacitors. Right, let's clean the fan. And I think for this, if we remove the screws, we'll get better access. Assuming they're not really, really tight, which I think they are. Oh no, just needed the right screwdriver bit, or the right size bit. Leave that screw in to try and remember which way around it goes. And this is where a brush comes in handy to brush out the dust. And then I'm going to try and clean the fan blades. A little bit tricky. There are screws down there. 3 screws. So I could remove it, but I think I'll leave it for now. Might just put a bit of electrical cleaner on the brush, see if that helps at all. Is it just me, or is this making it dirtier? I suppose it'll be okay. That'll do, won't it? Oh god, no. Let's remove this so we can clean it. So three screws. Came out okay, so this should lift away. Now we can clean under there properly. And we can also clean these fan blades properly. Yeah, that was worthwhile actually. Let me just see if I can remove this, and I'm going to go wash this with soap and water. And I'm going to use hot water so that it dries quickly. It's the neat thing about videoing this is that if you need to see how you did it, you can go back and watch the video. So I'll be back. So I've washed this with soap and water. I've also washed this. Kind of need to work out which way around it goes, but I think, yeah, it's got little indentations on this bit, so we can see where the screws go. So to put those back together, we reverse the process. Just going to give this a quick blow. Any residual dust. And can anyone remember which way around this was and which way out the cable goes? Guessing. Oh right, okay, it's probably only one way it fits actually. Like this. Yep. Hopefully my hands aren't blocking this too much. we've got this cover which lines up the way around like this. Looks pretty cool. It's much nicer now that it's clean. That one's gone in a bit wonky. That's better. Gonna come back to that one. Okay, let's try this one again. Okay, thermal paste time. Probably a bit too much. And I've got this, which let's use these things to help line it up. Whoops. I might want to actually have a look. Spreading it out a bit. Yeah, I think once this goes down, it'll cover the rest of it quite nicely. Just using a gentle bit of pressure. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Maybe a bit in the corners. Yeah, that looks fine. Just a dot more. guys that this is already quite a long video and we haven't really moved on to the actual main board yet. But yeah, I don't think it matters too much. I think some people like long videos, don't they? And you can always skip bits if you want to skip to the main board, or yeah, play it at a faster speed if you want. Okay, we have a clean, did I brush this side? We have a cleaned, I mean this side is pretty clean anyway, I think, because it was in the case that way around. All the dust landed on this side rather than this side. Connect the fan, give it a spin. That's looking much nicer. And we now know it's got good thermal paste on it, or fresh thermal paste. So yeah, another nicely cleaned part. And let's move on to the motherboard now. So we're going to take the motherboard out to replace this bracket here that's broken. And there's probably about 6 screws. Yep, 6 screws holding it in. We've got IDE connections that we can disconnect. And a floppy drive connection. And then there's also the front panel connections. Quite a few, because there's a multi-card reader here, which is quite old school. It's quite surprising that it's only got this many connections. Sort of like half a USB connection. It is actually connected to this, the bottom bit of a USB connection that you can't see. Can you see now? Let me just move this. So here, USB connection. And it's red on the left. For later, I'm going to try keep this sort of in a position where it'll help me remember which way around it goes. We've got front USB and front firewire connections, so the 2 cables are going here, and then we've got another one here. There's even an unplugged, actually the firewire is unplugged. So it looks like there's audio as well. So this is going to be the audio one. Actually this one's audio, and this is USB. There's also SATA connections here. I'm going to replace this as well. And I think once we've removed this Wi-Fi card, we'll be able to start unscrewing the motherboard. There's also front panel connections. It's quite a, well, it doesn't take too long, but it's nowhere near as quick as just removing a graphics card, for example, or a fan. Nice blue motherboard. Don't get many blue motherboards anymore, do you? They're all black or white. You get some white motherboards. Many other colours. So everybody decided that they should all just be black in colour. Okay. Just grabbed a brand new button battery to put in. I'm remembering. And you just pull that thing that way. Just take the battery out. Click it into place. And we've done all the screws, so we can take this out. Just going to try and remember the order of these connections. Okay, it's got like a protective cover. Over here, blocking the built-in graphics to stop you from using that. So we just need to remove this first. And the different screwdriver. Okay, so we're removing the motherboard, and I'll just move this out of the way so we can clean it. Okay, we are now on to the point of removing the bracket, but we may as well clean the memory first. So we've got 512 meg DDR 3200. I'm going to try find another one of these so that we can run it in dual channel. So this is dual channel, Prescott 800 dual channel DDR 400. This is 3200 CL3. So I'm going to try and find another stick that matches this so that we can run a dual channel. And I'm going to clean away some of this dust while I'm here. Try and avoid getting it into the actual RAM slot, memory slot. Apart from the dust, these capacitors look okay visually. As far as I can tell, that all looks fine. It's not too dirty. There's some dust down here. Okay, so onto the bracket, and again it's these sort of, we've got those little pins, so the clear or white plastic needs pushing down, then we should be able to squeeze the black things to remove them. Maybe we can pull it. Okay, maybe we'll push from this side. Oh yeah, can you see that? Push that in focus, so I can push that out. squeeze. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so that's the bracket removed. Stray thermal paste there. And we may as well clean this while we've got access. Just going to put some fresh thermal paste on. So, let's have a quick look at the processor. Hopefully that's legible. Okay, nice ASRock AGP8X SATA USB 2 5.1 channel audio, and it's a P4 i65G Prescott 800. Got lots of nice little instructions telling you various different things. And then we've got SATA down here. It's got an IR1 connector, front panel fan, CPU fan up here. Okay, so let me just get rid of some more dust. Let's see how we fit this bracket to the back. Hopefully it's just a case of lining up these holes. Yeah, sort of clicked into place. And then I've got this, which should just again line up. I'm getting dust on it. And then we should be able to screw these in. Get the screwdriver. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to try to find some DDR2 memory that matches. I think 1 gig's enough for this system. It's running Windows XP. I want to try and find some sort of matched. So I've basically got a box, a tub full of old memory. And I'm just going to sort of very quickly, red, blue, green. I'm very quickly going to see if I can find some Samsung maybe. Oops. Lots of Elixir, Micron, Crucial. Team, and what's in here? DDR1, Promos, and there's 512, but it's slower, and that's 3200, 512 Promos. So they're both double-sided. Crucial, Crucial, Crucial. Okay, let's go for just this Promos. And it looks similar. Both double-sided. Both 3200. Both CL3. So hopefully this will be a good match. Just going to clean this Samsung some more so it's not completely covered in dust. And next, thermal paste. I'm going to put MX2 on the heatsink, the processor, because these Pentium 4 processors do get quite hot. And we'll try the system outside of the case first, just to check the memory basically and check things are working. We can even try the internal graphics, see if that works. And we'll be able to check that the new bracket is working okay. So which way does it go? Give it a wiggle. Check the thermal paste is spread out. Not entirely. Yeah, that's looking okay. So it'll spread out a bit more when more pressure is applied. And then this just get trapped under here, or let me see if I need to do something with this. So this should clip on. Is it doing it? Yep, so it's clipping on. And next, let's actually try it. So we've got our repaired power supply. We're going to want to connect this up. It's interesting that it's a 24 pin power supply, but only a 20 pin motherboard connector. Or is it? Yep, 20 pin. Then we also need the CPU connection. What's next? Keyboard and power cable and video cable. Okay, so I've got a keyboard cable. Just go this way. Got a video cable. I don't know if the internal graphics on this work, but they should do. Next, power for the power supply. Am I forgetting anything? Memory, keyboard, monitor, fan connected, power. Check the monitor is on. Plugging the power into the power supply. I don't like that it just switched on straight away. And is that a sort of weird whistling noise? I don't like that either. It's using 137 watts. Let me just unplug it. Check the screen is working. Yeah, the screen's on. Okay, let me plug this in again. Okay, it's not switched on straight away. Let me switch it on. Okay, it's come up on the screen. Here we go. Can you hear the sort of whistly noise? Let me just unplug it. I'm going to switch to a different power supply and see if I can work out whether the whistly noise is the power supply or the motherboard, because whistly noises are not a good thing. Just disconnecting the power supply. So going to this 300 watt power supply that I've got. It's got a CPU connector. And let's plug it in. Switch it on. Switch the PC on. So the PC is switched on and there's not a whistling sound. So it means that the power supply that we fixed has got a sort of whistling sound. Just going to go into the BIOS to have a look at hardware monitor. We've got, I'll show you what's happening. So this is the power supply I'm using now. This one had a whistling sound, like a capacitor going wrong or something like that. Got 105 watts on here, and yeah, you should be able to see that there. We've got 1024 megabytes dual channel memory mode. That's great, that's nice to see. That'll give us a performance boost compared to single channel. This is the CPU temperature, motherboard temperature. I think there's a slight wobble or noise on this fan, but it's not too bad. That's frustrating about this power supply having a whistle. I'll just switch back to it actually, and I'll move the camera so maybe you can hear it. Got 105 watts being used, so we'll also see if there's a difference between the two power supplies. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to swap the power supply back to the one we've replaced the fan on. Can't actually get the power cable out of the motherboard. Super tight. Oh, there we go. So we're going to switch back. Move this one out of the way. They're all tangled up with each other. Connect the CPU. And okay, let's show you what's going on in case anything happens. I'm gonna connect the power to this power supply. Not switched on, great. And then we're going to switch on the system. I'm going to go into the BIOS, go to the same hardware monitor. I've got it using more watts, so it's 116 watts now. The other was about 105, and don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, you hear the whistling noise? It's like it's about to pop. Definitely coming from this power supply, and I'm going to switch it off because it's not, I don't like it. So yeah, I'm not going to use this for this system. Just it's not worth the risk of that blowing up. Taking any of this sort of stuff with it. So yeah, let's try the power supply from the other Pentium 4 system, because the other Pentium 4 system has the broken bracket, and until I find a heatsink or something for that, it's not going to be any use to me. So yeah, I want to continue with this and continue getting this up and running, because this is the nicer of the two systems. Just to show you the other Pentium 4 system, the lid of the CPU came off with the removal of the heatsink, and this is the bracket that I was talking about that's also broken. So this goes down and clips under a little plastic thing, and on this side it's broken off, so this side doesn't hold it down. The little piece of plastic's broken off here, so this bracket can be replaced, but then I now need to find a heatsink for this system. This was is a 2.2 gigahertz system. It's not as nice. I mean, it's got a nice old style graphics card, but it's not as modern as the other system. So yeah, we're going to take the FSP power supply out of this, put it in to this other one, and then we can carry on with getting the system up and running. Okay, so this power supply weighs barely anything. This FSP group power supply is far more substantial. You can sort of see there's much more in there, and it weighs a lot more. And the switch on the back works properly. So let's connect this up to this, check it works. We'll see how much power it uses as well, because, you know, the better the power supply, the less sort of it draws. The more efficient it is, and the less it draws from the wall. We might need to sort of undo this cable tied sort of bit, but yeah. So power plugged into the wall, power plugged into the power supply, and switching this on, and then switching it on here. Okay, so we've got something on the screen. We're going to go into the BIOS again so that we're looking at the same information as before. The hardware monitor. And you can sort of see what's going on. We've got 3.3 volts, we've got 5.1, and we've got a sort of around 12 volts. For the other thing, and we're using about 111 watts. So this is doing better than this one. It's actually really quiet as well, this FSP power supply. So that's nice. This is the fan on the CPU's making most of the noise. Yeah, we can carry on with this build, and yeah, good job we checked this power supply, because yeah, cheap power supplies are not a good idea. You know, they'll work for a bit, and could cause problems down the road, and you end up just buying a new power supply. And there aren't really cheap power supplies anymore, so you may as well get a branded, or FSP seem to be pretty good. Yeah, so let's start putting this into the case after we've cleaned the case some more. I'm just going to show you how quiet this power supply is when it's just connected to the power supply tester. And we can also look at these voltages, except it's upside down. So the voltages aren't great, but it did work. But yeah, this is super quiet. Anyway. Okay, so we're just sort of cleaning this case, using a brush to get rid of some of the dust. Give it a sort of shake out as well. Bit of a blow. And yeah, we can start putting stuff back in. Let me give it another shake. Right. So, it's just kind of still tiny bits of dust all over the place. Right, can put the motherboard in. So give it a wipe with a cloth, a clean cloth, rather than one I've used for everything else. Dust bunnies, that's the word or phrase I haven't used yet. Right, where is the motherboard? Over here. It's quite satisfying now that the system's clean, putting it all back together. Knowing that we've given this system an extra lease of life. If my hand's in the way. Okay, I need to find the screws that we used for the motherboard. So we're using the same ones. Try and do a few before actually tightening them properly so it's kind of nicely lined up. It's probably going to be one of the longest videos I've done on the channel. Also got a TV card that we can put back in. So it's sort of complete, and it should, still have the drivers for that, so it makes sense to keep it with this system. Okay, so all the different connections. There was the front multi-card reader that runs off USB. Just adjust this so you can sort of see what's going on. And then we've got the front panel connection, sort of cable tied some of these cables in the way, actually. So we've got power switch, hard drive, LED. From memory, I can sort of remember that where these go. This was the power switch. And there's also a little writing down there, quite difficult to read, but hard drive is next, then LED underneath that. So, or is it? No, wait, it's power LED next. Hard drive LED underneath that. Really wish they had kind of standardized this at some point, so that it's just like a block and you just plug it in and it's the same on all of them. And surely, is there a reset switch on this? This case does not have a reset switch, so we don't need to worry about plugging that in. We've got FireWire, and I don't think the motherboard has a FireWire connector, so we don't need to connect that. We've got audio, which was over here. And then we also have USB. One of these was back here. So yeah, USB, audio, front panel, and FireWire doesn't go anywhere because there's no FireWire. I mean, we could add a sort of FireWire PCI card, maybe connect it to that if it's got a header. But for the time being, I think I've got everything connected, and we can put the very nice graphics card back in. Hopefully we can move this cable so it doesn't get in the way. I'm going to put a screw in for this. And next we can connect the IDE cables got our floppy drive connector as well, which is all the way down at the bottom. Doesn't really, does it reach? It does, but it's quite fiddly. Okay, that's the floppy drive cable sort of in the way of everything. That's the hard drive cable. And we've got the CD cables, or cable, connected to the two optical drives. Then let's zoom out, and we'll put the power supply in next, connect everything up. And this has got a cable tie on that I'm going to remove because it's just going to make things more difficult. I'm also going to connect up the audio cable from the optical drive to the main board, because why not? It was connected to the power supply, and assuming it's long enough, that is, we may as well connect it up. And then we've got audio from one of the optical drives. On this I'm setting it as the top one, and then we should be able to plug it in. It's kind of a mess, but should be able to plug it in down here, I think. And again, yeah, there we go. So we can tidy that up a bit around here, just about. It's a little bit tight. And then the power supply. Oops. Sorry about the loud noise. Pretty short cables on this. You can screw it in. I've put it in the wrong way around. Really? Yep. That's a bit frustrating. Lines up now. We also need to reattach the fan to the back and connect all the power cables for the drives. Hopefully everything reaches. Floppy drive here. Two for up here and then one for down here. So almost reaches that one. Oops. So we almost reached this hard drive with this one. Kind of a shame, because if it reached that, then it'd make adding an extra drive easier, but I don't suppose it matters too much for now. It can be a future problem, I suppose. Connecting up the optical drives. Oh, this has got no screws in. Strange. Need to put a screw in there. Just grab it. For completeness. And let me just check. We've got power connected there and there. Got these things connected. Got the graphics card. Could probably do with tidying up where this graphics card cable goes for the fan on that. But for the time being, it'll be okay. Right, let's try it, I guess. So, yeah, I'm just going to sort that out. You could also do with some feet. I've got some feet somewhere, I just need to find them. But let's give it a try. Connecting the power supply is switched off. And connect the keyboard and a mouse. Cables get very tangled when you switch from PC to PC regularly. And we're going to get the monitor cable, which has gone over here. And we're connecting it to the actual graphics card. So, let's sort this out. And we can now see PC and monitor. So, are we ready? Monitor's on, PC's plugged in. I'm pressing the switch now. And then I'm going to press the power button on the front. Okay, so we've got a light here for the hard drive, and we've got it on screen. And I'm just going to have a very quick look. The graphics card fan is spinning, and wants us to go into the BIOS. We may as well. We've got hard drive connected, we've got the optical drives connected. One's a Lighton DVD rewriter, the other's a JLMS brand, which I've never heard of. We've got compact flash, smart media, SD card reader, Sony memory stick. So it's a 7-in-1, because it also does MMC, compact flash 1 and 2 maybe, and MS and MS Pro. Okay, so we'll just go into the BIOS. We'll have a look at the hardware monitor. Let's show you that. Got 5.1 volts, 3.3, 11.95, and the temperature looks fine. And yeah, let's see, these optical drives work. And then, shall we boot into Windows? We'll start Windows normally. Just checking there's nothing on the keyboard. I can hear the hard drive going, and we're booting into Windows XP. So we've booted into Windows XP, and I've just given the PC a quick wipe all over to give the outside of it a clean. Yeah, it's got this AUS Logix disk defrag, so why don't we just run that, because I love these little defrag tools that have these dots and they move them all around and stuff. I think they're cool. Yeah, it's like the sort of like the one in Windows 98, 95. So yeah, we have brought this Pentium 4 system back to life. I mean, I guess there wasn't that much wrong with it, really. Although the broken clip did kind of make it yeah, not usable, but once that's fixed, and the power supply, we've replaced that with another one, we've got a system that, you know, it's nice. It's nice system. And with the Pentium 4 we've got hyper threading, so the Windows XP sees 2 processors. We've got 1 gig of memory now. Windows XP is using 327, so there's plenty of RAM, and yeah, nice system. A little bit loud, I guess. Mostly the CPU heatsink. I also need to put the fan back in the back of it. But yeah, quite a nice little system. I'll just plug this fan into the motherboard header and see what sort of, whether this adds a lot of noise or just a little bit of noise. So that's a little bit of noise, not a lot at all. Probably be louder when it's actually mounted to the case. But yeah, if you've watched this far, well done, thank you. This is probably one of the longest videos I've done. Yeah, but thanks for watching. I'm glad we got this up and running. It's a nice system. I've got to put back in the TV card. I'll just show you that. It's a TV card, and it's also an FM tuner if you want to listen to the radio. So that's, you know, something you don't tend to get these days. Yeah, I think we can safely end there, and a few more things to put back in, but yeah, might just finish it off now, just for completeness. So let's stop this, come back to this at a later date and we'll shut this down. So I'm just going to put in this fan into the back. It's actually not got any kind of specific fan mount holes. It's just kind of this grid pattern at the back, so we could kind of, it's up to us where we put it, I guess, like up here or lower down, I guess. Somewhere in the middle will do the job. And we'll set it to blow air out of the case. Sort of mostly near the CPU, but also it should help keep heat away from this, as well as the graphics card. Then we can put the TV tuner FM card back in as well. Need another screw. Okay, and then just for complete satisfaction, let's put the side back on. And I'll also give this a clean. Okay, there we go. Job done. I'll see you in the next video.